Hey there, my friend. This is Tony Lucidi, and I just wanted to shoot this short video and talk about who is Tony Lucidi. Now, I've shot a few videos now, and you're probably wondering, who is this guy? Well, let me tell you who I am a little bit. Oh, before I do that, I wanted to tell you I took down some notes, so every once in a while I'm going to be looking down, and I hope you don't mind. But let me just tell you this. If I don't do that, I'm not going to stay on track. I'm going to be way off in left field. I'll never get to my point. So, and none of us wants that, right? So, okay, who am I? My name's Tony Lucidi, like I said. My last name is spelled Lucidi, and if you drop off the last I there is lucid. Lucid means clear. So if you're doing any kind of personal development, um, they always tell you to have a clear vision. So my last name is clear. So what we got to do now is have the vision, right? And I actually do have a vision. My vision is to help 100 people a year to be successful in life, no matter what that is. So hopefully by watching my videos and the tips that I'm going to actually bring you from time to time, we're going to actually maybe help each other to see our vision. And it's funny. Just recently, me and my daughter kind of collaborated, and being that I'm on this I guess personal development journey, I'd like to say that I wanted to name. I actually want to come up with a name for that journey. So what we came up with, and you'll probably be seeing it in my videos and maybe on my marketing too, is that we came up with the Freedom Quest. And what is the Freedom Quest? It's a simple desire to pursue our dreams. A simple desire to pursue our dreams. Isn't that why we're all doing what we're doing? And we're on Google, investigating things and researching and studying things and everything. And then now we're on YouTube and we're looking at things. So that's what I'm doing. So see, good thing I have my notes, because see, I was already off track. So, but I thought that was important. So who am I? I live in Fort Washington, Pennsylvania, which is 40 minutes outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I live here with my wife Eileen, and if you spell this wrong, you'll be in as much trouble as I was in the beginning. So her name is spelled Ileen, which is something out of the norm. And also, I live here with my daughter Danielle, and Danielle is 11 years old, and she is just a wonderful kid, and I'm lucky to have her. And she is not only mine, but me and my wife both. She's our miracle kid. When we first got married, we tried to have kids, and it didn't work out so good. So we went to the doctor, and the doctor said that being that the condition that I have, and maybe we'll get into that some other time, the condition I have, I probably won't be able to have kids. And my wife was pretty well devastated. My response was, "Oh, good, I can get a Corvette." I'm picturing maybe a convertible, being it's a two-seater and all. And the doctor said, "Oh, I thought that, you'd be sad about it. You're really taking this pretty well." And I said, "Well, you got to look at the positive things in life. Life's going to throw a lot of obstacles in your way, a little some bumps in your way, and you got to get through it. You can't just crawl up in the corner and go to sleep. You know what I mean? Life's not over." And I was always told, my grandfather, I'm going to talk about him a lot through the course of the videos, and once you get to know me and so forth, I talk to him about him a lot. First off, his name was Anthony. My father's name's Anthony, and I'm Anthony. Why am I not the third? Or sometimes they say turd. I'm not thrilled with that. Is that our middle names are different. My grandfather didn't have a middle name. He lived through the Depression, so he always said that he couldn't afford a middle name. I think that's pretty funny. And my father's is John. And believe it or not, mine being that I have a little Irish in the family, my middle name is actually Jared. So, and if you look at my initials, Anthony Jared Lucidi, if you take the first two AN, the middle two GE, and the last one being an L, I'm actually an angel on your shoulder. You can believe that, or you don't have to believe that. Sometimes my horns come out, so that's up to you what you believe. But back to what I was telling you about me. we moved here into this house in Fort Washington, Pennsylvania, and we were actually thinking of having obviously a family with 2 or 3 kids. So maybe the house is a little big for the 3 of us. Maybe that'll change in the future. Um, so yeah, I guess your next question is what do I do, right? What do I do for a living? Okay, so full time I own and operate my own steel company. Now, my company is out of my home. I have an office, but I subcontract out all the work. And a lot of times that I say that I own my own company, it kind of is like, I was just telling somebody this recently, is a stigma out there that, oh, well, I don't know what it is to be an employee, which is not true at all, because where I got my start, I was an employee. Back in high school, I worked as a dishwasher and a bar back, and I liked the dishwasher not so much. Bar back's a lot of fun, being it's a bar, and I was underage too, so that was pretty cool. And then I think the waitresses were a little cuter too. Haha. And then I also worked in a seafood restaurant. Believe it or not, it was like a takeout kind of place. I had shrimp and everything else, and I had to pull that little piece out of the shrimp. You know what I mean? That it kind of looks like a, you know what it looks like, right? It's all brown and nasty looking and all. I didn't last there too long because I was pretty critical about that stuff. Apparently, the guy I got fired. Actually, it's probably one of the only places I actually got fired. And he actually said I was too detail oriented. Can you believe that? For that business, I wasn't fast enough. So I'm sorry. I'm not going to leave that little turd in there for you. I'm going to actually clean that sucker out. So yeah, I got fired from that, and I didn't really care too much. Not that I didn't care. I just, it is what it is. So then, I guess my other job in the summer times, I worked on a horse farm. Yes, I did shovel that stuff, and yes, it does smell as bad as you would think it does. I painted fences with a mixture of tar and gasoline, and at the time I used to smoke, so sometimes whoo, that would go up in flames, and then I got to put it out. But that was pretty cool. I got to learn how to ride horses while I was there, free of charge, and I had a lot of fun over there. And the people were very, very super nice, so I like that. And then, believe it or not, after that, I actually was a mate on a charter boat when I was about like 15, 16 years old. And I got to for free, I got to fish. Well, yeah, and they paid me, so I got to paid to I was paid to fish. So my father always had boats and so forth, and friends always had boats, and we were down the shore, and I learned a lot there, and then I taught them some stuff, and believe it or not, don't tell anybody this, but they taught me how to drink beer well. So I like my beer too. So what? So then we did that for summers, and then eventually believe it or not, I became a DJ. Not on the radio or anything like that, but for like parties and stuff. A friend of mine in high school introduced me to it, and man, I loved it. And the part that I really loved about it is like when you're getting people to have a good time. They're laughing and having a good time. So I would actually watch their facial expressions out on the dance floor and all. And you could tell pretty good as far as like who's having a good time and who's not, and I used to try to read people as far as like whether it was time to do like a slow song or maybe it was like a dance club kind of song or like a rock and roll kind of song or whatever else, and I got some stories about that too. Believe me, I think you'd enjoy some of those. So maybe that's for another time. And then after all that, I was a DJ, and I was making maybe, eventually me and my buddy started our own little company. It didn't last long because friends and money sometimes don't mix. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So they don't mix so good, and we got in a heated battle about that, and I fell out of that. But I was making like $100 an hour, which is like, my father couldn't believe it. He thought I was goofing around. So he told me that no more of that. I got to go come work for him in the steel company. And back to that, my grandfather, when he came over to this country from Italy, eventually he went into the war, and then from the war or in the war, he actually was a blacksmith, and that's how all this steel started. So as he came out of the war and he was a black with that trade, he actually started his own company making those wrought iron railings that you see all over the place. So he actually made those by hand, obviously. And then from there, he grew the company into like the structural steel, where you see the skeletons of buildings and so forth. And I think here I'm in my office. I should have had this ready. I should have had this ready for you, but this is like a truss member, right? So that this kind of structural steel. So yeah, my father actually went to Villanova College at the time, and in engineering, and he was going to be like a scientist in a lab, but he gave all that up to help my grandfather in the steel business. So it really wasn't his career choice, but he did that. He gave up his vision, I guess his goal. He gave up for the family and everything else. It made him miserable. He was absolutely miserable doing it. I don't recommend that, but he did it for the family and everything, and they made a very good living at it. So yeah, I worked for him for 5 years. Or I worked for them for about 5 years. I started not in management. I started at the bottom where you're supposed to start. I emptied trash cans, and they had this old machine that made blueprints that used ammonia. Oh, you go into this room and your eyes would be tearing and you'd be sweating, and I think that chemical was getting into your sweat glands, or like burning up in there. It's amazing that I'm not sick from it or whatever else. But yeah, you got to start somewhere, right? But I learned the business. I learned from the bottom up what that business took, and luckily they had their own fab shop. At one time they had like 20 men working in the shop, fabricating the steel. Excuse me. And I learned exactly. I got to see the guys working, using the welders and the torches and the overhead cranes and all kinds of stuff. I thought it was the coolest thing. When I was really young, me and my father used to play with the erector set, if you remember that. I guess I'm showing you how old I am there, but oh well. But yeah, the erector set. So I actually got to grow up with the erector set and eventually make that my career. So yeah, my career is I build erector sets. So okay, so from the steel, yeah, from working for him in 1992, being that the economy wasn't doing so hot, our business, family business, went out of business. Which was not a happy time. I got to see that whole end of it and what could happen there. It's not pretty. I'm not going into too much detail with it, but yeah, it was not a fun time for us as a family even. So from there, obviously now I was out of work. My father was out of work. My grandfather at the time was retired already, thank God. And I had to find a job. Luckily, we had a relationship with a really small shop that they did some specialty stuff for. They knew of me and they hired me right away. So I got to work there for 5 years, and within that time, they needed somebody to run some of the work. So I got my father hired, so which was kind of cool, working with him again. And you know, of course, I was living at home still, so we got to drive in and together and so forth. And you know, he got his benefits. He got a little cash too, made some money. He worked really hard. No matter what he did, he worked hard. So that's where I guess I get it from. And then from there, I stayed there for, like I said, 5 years, and I moved on to another company that was somewhat friendly with this company. And then eventually my father followed me again, which is kind of cool. And we worked there for a couple of years until he was able to retire. And I actually stayed there for 10 years. And I feel like I sold my soul to the devil. I don't know whether or not you know what that feels like. You know, in the beginning it was a great place to work. In the end, not so fantastic. And what happened there was, well, I don't know. In the last couple years, whether or not you know what this feels like, you know, I had a family at the time, and I got to pay the bills and everything else. I had to go to work. I couldn't find another job. I was actually looking for another job, and I couldn't find one. And I had a hard time even walking through the door, if you know what walking through the door, getting there in the morning, first thing, trying to walk through that door. I felt nauseated almost to walk through that door, because the people there, they just didn't make you feel welcome, or loyalty just went out the window with that company. I remember one time, got this one story for you. I got there first thing in the morning, I was the estimator there. I did all the sales and I did the bidding and so forth. My job was to get work. So I went there first thing in the morning, and then I don't know. I remember I had a plan table, where you put the drawings on. So I had that going, and I was on the phone, and I had a lot of stuff going on, and I didn't even use a computer at that time. I don't think I did everything by hand, which was ridiculous to me. But so I had a lot of stuff going, and it's first thing in the morning, and the boss walks through the door. I had two bosses, they're father and son. So the boss, the older guy, walks through the door, and I didn't, I saw him, I waved to him, but I couldn't say anything to him because I had a lot of stuff going on. And I get off the phone, and I'm dealing with whatever I had to deal with, writing it down and everything else, and I hear from across the room how he's like screaming at his son and the other guy that worked there that, can you believe that guy? He doesn't even have the common courtesy to say good morning to me and all that. And I'm like, I didn't even know who the heck he was talking about. Can't be me because I'm over here working for him, for his business. So, yeah, long story short, he come over me and, man, he ripped me a new one, man, screaming and yelling and everything else about how I don't have some common courtesy to say good morning to him in the morning. I'll tell you, that really shook me. And hate to say this, but man, I started to cry a little bit. Here I am busting my butt for this guy, and he doesn't even appreciate me. And here I'm supposed to drop. I'm working. I'm doing the business. I'm just supposed to drop everything and and say good morning to him or something like that. I called my dad right away that day. I almost walked out. He talked me out of it though. He talked me out because I did have a baby at home, and I couldn't afford to leave. But not a good time. So pretty much from that point on, I planned my escape. I got incorporated for myself. My company's name is ADI Steel, and I say it's Anthony, Danielle, and Eileen, which we went over. And when I want to act tough, it's attitude, determination, and integrity. And believe it or not, that's kind of how I run That's how I run that business and my internet business same way. Attitude, got to have a good attitude. Determination, and integrity. Right, you got to do the right thing. So yeah, I started my own company, my own steel company. I started back in the last quarter of 2007. And if you remember, 2008 was kind of like the crash, so I've been kind of living through that. I had two or three good years there, because everything kind of rolls over. But then, everything kind of hits the fan too. So on the side, I have an internet business. Before that, I was involved with multi-level marketing, network marketing. And I got involved with that in the late 1990s. A friend of mine, very good friend of mine, and is still a very good friend of mine that we still hang out with. He introduced me to network marketing. I'm not going to say the name of it. And it was involved with, services like telephone, like long distance service. It started out with, and it went into your phone service, and it went into your cell phone service, or at the time it was even pagers. If you remember what pagers are, wow, I'm really dating myself there too. So what really hooked me, I went into that meeting with him and his brother. His brother was already in there, and man, I was just hooked. I was hooked being that we got to work with people we like to work with. We save people on money on products that people already use. And I was just going like gangbusters. I think in the first month I picked up maybe 50 customers, and it's all with that warm market stuff, making phone calls and all that kind of stuff. Didn't mind the phone call so much. It was like bugging my relatives to buy stuff. I never liked that. Never was thrilled with that. Like my grandmother has a pager. Give me a break. Just or a cell phone even and all. But yeah, I absolutely loved it. Fell in love with it. And then of course, just like all the other business, I've been involved with a few of them now. They never keep up their end of the bargain as far as saving people money, And then what? Everybody turns around and looks at it and you go, "Oh, you're supposed to be saving me money." And what do you do? Sorry, if you don't like it, then please, by all means, if it's not fitting you, then warm market or no warm market, they want to save money. So I don't know how I could. There's no way to teach people that. I guess they just don't realize that. They think because of the warm market that they're going to just stay to stay. This is money wise in this economy, no one's going to do that. So I got involved with internet, my internet business. I don't know how long ago. I guess I got involved with the internet, getting online, because this is the reason why. Uh, I always thought, and I still believe. I believe this is what I believe. I believe that that business, like my steel business, people come to me knowing that I'm in the steel business, and they come to me knowing because I know what I know. I'm not in the steel business calling my grandmother, my aunt, my uncle, everything else, asking if they want to build a building or they need this, that, and the other. They're not in that market. So why? My thought was always, why is that business, that networking business, like that? Why isn't it the people who are looking for an opportunity come to me? And I thought the best way to do that would be on the internet, right? Wouldn't that be the best way to do that? Attract people to you, who being that you have something to offer. And I think that's the way to go. I always thought that. I even told my buddy, his name's Mike, who introduced me to MLM. I always told him the same thing. And at first I thought you could see in his eyes, he thought I was a little crazy. But if you think about that, attract the people to you. It just makes common sense to me. So hopefully you enjoyed this conversation we just had. If you like what I had to say, please put it in the comments somewhere on the page. And also, um, if this is on my blog, please click on the banners and so forth on there, and see a little bit more about me. And also down below, if this is on YouTube, you're going to see a link down below, Online Recruiting Secrets. We actually have a 7-day boot camp, me and my team, that actually shows you exactly what to do, how to make money on YouTube and on the internet, just like I was talking about, to get leads for yourself and get your business really kicking. So I hope you, like I said, I hope you enjoyed this. Again, my name's Tony Lucidi. Hopefully you know more about me than, or maybe you know too much about me. I'm not sure. I'm sorry this is so long, but you make it a great day. I believe in you. I appreciate you. Hopefully you know a little bit more about me. Love you. Take care.